Today in Animal Hospital, I'm going to be testing out the craziest myths. From ones that completely change your gameplay to ones that are just flat out hilarious. So, our first myth actually involves a headbanger. If you didn't know, the headbanger usually chills out right here and just bangs his head in the window. He is kind of a chill anomaly, and he doesn't really pose much of a threat, but he will leave an ugly crack in your window. So let's just heal these two patients. Alright, let's take your photo and let's print your badge. Right this way to room 2, sir. And we have just completed the first shift, and the doctor's coming. Yeah, so if you're curious, this is what the headbanger pretty much looks like. He pretty much has this face right here, except it's probably going to be another random animal. Besides the first myth, this actually correlates with our next myth, which is when a customer faints, we can throw them in the trash to save time. Alright, let's go ahead and see how this goes. Can we throw it in the trash? Oh my god! That is actually insane! We can throw it in the trash and it says nobody will know! Oh my god, that is actually savage. Well, myth confirmed, I guess. Alright guys, we are done with our second shift. We are on to the third shift. We are actually doing pretty good. Alright guys, back to the first myth. This is just the headbanger where he's just gonna breathe on your window and start banging on it. I don't know why. The theory is supposed to save coffee, so apparently if you take 2 sips of the coffee and give him the last sip, apparently he'll just leave you alone? Alright guys, I just gave him the coffee. They drink coffee, it seems to make them calm down. And he says coffee, and he leaves. Alright, that's myth confirmed right there, guys. Would you give me a coffee? I had a long day. We just gave the coffee to the headbanger. So we're just gonna close the shutter on him because there's no real consequence for actually ignoring him. You only really miss out on a free coffee maker, which it's not that big of a deal if you're soloing. Alright guys, now that we're back inside the office, it's time for a third myth that if you let an anomaly in and give them the wrong medication, it won't actually count towards your patient deaths. As you see, this is a round-eyed deer, but if you see here, he has these little corners of his eyes that make him different in this photo, meaning he's an anomaly, but we're gonna let him in anyways. Alright sir, right this way to room 6. Alright, we're gonna have to copy the sequence for this one. This is like Simon Says again. Alright, you have dried eyes and dehydration, but for this one, we're actually gonna give him something else. You see, normally as a doctor, you would give your patient eye drops and IV drops for dried eyes and dehydration, but since we don't want him to live, we might as well give him something else. Like this random prescription medication I'm gonna give to him right now. Alright guys, myth confirmed actually. That was actually kind of a cool myth. Alright guys, so our next myth is that the don't look up guy right there would actually let you look at him if you give him eye drops. So let's just go ahead and do this right now, apply treatment. And it looks like that's myth confirmed. He's staring at me, but it doesn't seem that he hurts me anymore. The only con that I actually see with this is that you lose like at least 10 sanity while trying to treat him, so yeah, it's better just not to treat him. Alright guys, we are back with the last and final myth, and you might be wondering, why am I on shift 1 again? Well, the reason for that being is that we actually need to be on shift 1 for this myth. Alright guys, so there's this myth where the first customer is always guaranteed to have a stomachache, and the second customer is always guaranteed to have dried eyes. So let's see if this is actually true. Oh yeah, it is actually true. He has a stomachache. So we're just gonna give him herbs right here. To make sure this myth is actually true, we're gonna deal with the second customer right here, and if he has dried eyes, that means this myth is confirmed. Alright, we're gonna put in this analyzer right here, and let's see if he actually has dried eyes, and I have some eye drops just in case. Wait, what? He actually has dried eyes. This myth is actually confirmed. First 2 patients actually have guaranteed items that they need. Alright guys, I think I'm just gonna call it wraps here. It is getting pretty late, and I already busted a lot of myths. Also, comment down below which videos on Animal Hospital you actually want me to do next, because I actually enjoy making these videos. Anyways guys, bye and see you next video.